Match 5 of Tenkaichi is a fight about why we fight. Is it for the sake of a friend, to push their dream on even after death? Is it for the sake of revenge, or maybe a promise? Hanzo's love for his friend, Jisai's lust for revenge. It's a battle over which one has more right to prevail, and why emotion is so important in such a battle, and why a person can never truly become an unfeeling machine. There is a lot to this fight, both in terms of themes and character development, and so that is of course what we shall explore today. So if you find yourself entertained at any point during the video, then consider liking, subscribing and ringing that bell. Anyway, on with the video. Now technically we are first introduced to our two fighters before this match, but I think their respective moments leading up to this match give us the best first impressions of their respective characters. Firstly with Hattori Hanzo, the samurai from a line of ninja. Before this match begins, we see him visit Tokugawa, the two mourning over the body of Honda. Tokugawa feels regret for using his friend in such a barbaric competition. He believes that he wasted his life. However, Hanzo disagrees. It was always Musclehead's wish to have the chance to die for Tokugawa's sake. Hanzo is very much an everyman, one who lacks the raw power and strength of the warriors around him. He, as we will see, is forced to fight with tricks and schemes, as it's the only way he can keep up. But more importantly, he can understand others, he can understand the feelings of his dead friend, and so he takes on those feelings into this match. As he says, it's a bit of a relief that Honda is dead, because now he can fight at full strength. Not just because he couldn't bear to go all out against a friend, but because now he has this good friend of him pushing him from behind. Some may call it revenge, but I don't see it that way. He may be fighting to avenge his friend, but not with any bloodlust or rage. No, instead he wants to push forward Honda's dream even further. Now if we turn our heads to Sasaki Kyojuro, we find him before this round, seeking out another competitor, Miyamoto Musashi. Their initial dialogue shows concern for Musashi. They're worried about his scars. They came just to see him and appreciate his techniques. And then Sasaki removes their mask and tells Musashi that they wish for him to come and watch their next match and get to know their sword. A clear display that Sasaki, the masked swordsman who nobody knows anything about, is opening up to, of all people, Musashi. Now I think this moment here is incredibly important for Sasaki's character, but the true weight of it cannot be appreciated quite yet, so just keep this scene in mind, we will be coming back to it. Now onto the match proper. The fight is won under the moonlight, set atop the keep of Osaka Castle, the Conqueror's Canopy. Hattori's entrance tells of a powerful spearman, a samurai who moves like a thunderbolt, though as mentioned by Kazumasu and Yagyu, there is more to this man than meets the surface. After all, everyone in his family up until his father had been ninja. He is as such the unhiding shinobi, one skilled in the ninja ways who has fought out in the open as a samurai. In that way, no one here truly knows the truth of who Hattori Hanzo really is as a warrior. Much like how no one knows anything about Sasaki Kyojuro. He was trained by Kanamaki Jisai, but that is all that is known. So we have a fighter who no one has seen fight at full strength, and one that no one has seen fight at all. Now Sasaki is referred to as a man-killing mecha warrior, as if he is an artificial creation purely designed to kill. They were crafted by Jisai as a perfect swordsman, an avatar for all his martial teachings. Sasaki's individuality then as a person is not what matters, he is merely a vessel for his master's orders and his master's revenge. As made clear with his earlier confrontation with Itosai, after round 4, Jisai has crafted this new mecha warrior for the purpose of revenge to kill Itosai. In this way, Sasaki, much like Hanzo, is fighting for the sake of someone else and also for revenge. However, the difference, as we will soon see, is all down to the emotions these two feel. As the two first come face to face, Hanzo asks Sasaki to remove his mask. It doesn't sit well with him not knowing the face of the person he is to kill. Yet another showing of Hanzo's very human compassion and emotions. Sasaki refuses. To him the mask might as well be his real face, as that mask is a symbol of his purpose, to be nothing but a tool for Jisai. When the fight begins, Hanzo immediately throws up his cloak as a smokescreen and then stabs through, hoping to spear Sasaki. Many see this as a cowardly and a dirty trick, but on the battlefield there is no right or wrong. To be called a dirty fighter is a compliment to Hanzo. For his tricks to be called dirty, it means they are effective, and for an everyman like him against monsters like Sasaki, his only way to win is through such schemes. However, his spear doesn't meet its mark, but it does succeed in demasking the swordsman. Sasaki intends to slice up Hanzo from behind, but is speared by the hidden tip on the back of Hanzo's spear. Again, another so-called dirty trick, but if it gets the job done, then job's a good un. With Sasaki's face revealed to all, Hanzo makes an interesting observation. He never would have thought Sasaki would be wearing a mask under their mask. Sasaki's lifeless eyes portray no emotion, as if they are really some kind of machine. And so Hanzo speculates that this too is a mask, and underneath there is a person, something which, as we will later see, very much is true. Hanzo sees the humanity in Sasaki here, but Sasaki by his own words just sees the functionality of Hanzo. He doesn't see people as people, he sees stats and figures, targets to kill, sees how hard or easy one is to kill. And so Sasaki prepares their sword and attacks. Like a man-slaying machine, they calculate the optimum way to kill Hanzo, and they go for it. The attack they release is monstrous, but there is a trick to it, and the key to it is Sasaki's sword. A whip-shaped blade, it truly was an unpredictable weapon, but in the hands of Sasaki, every move of it was planned and executed to perfection. A tool one would think would be impossible for a human to use, but easy enough for a machine. Hanzo tries to throw some kunai, another ninja trick, but Sasaki deflects them, calling them predictable, as if to say the only thing Hanzo has, his tricks and schemes, will not be enough. But at the end of the day, Sasaki isn't actually a machine, he is a man, and so despite his boasts, he fell for Hanzo's next trick, a smoke grenade, allowing Hanzo to do exactly what Sasaki had done at the start of the match, an attack from behind. However, unlike Honda, he was a normal man, he didn't have the power to end it all in a single thrust. Chip away bit by bit. It's not glorious or awe-inspiring, not fitting of any legends, but it's all a man like him can do. As a child, Hanzo could outmatch any man no matter how large. His eyes could see the perfect way to win through trickery, and as such he was incredibly skilled in the most essential tools for a shinobi. But he kept this skill hidden, because he was not to be a shinobi, but a samurai, to fight fairly with honour as a spearman and not bring shame to his lord. This was the dream his father placed on him, the dream he was asked to follow and fulfill. He was told by doing so he would obtain pride in himself, but he did not understand. All until that man, Honda Tadakatsu, appeared before him. One he could truly see was a true samurai, and so in endeavouring to be like Honda, did he find that pride his father spoke of. Now as for Sasaki's backstory, it all begins before Sasaki himself even enters the picture. It all started with the true orchestrator of his actions, Jisai, a man whose understanding of the sword and the martial ways was elite yet lacked the skills to practice what he preached. As such, he had his thumb sliced off by his top disciple so he could never wield the sword again. This here was the catalyst for Jisai's deep-seated hatred for Itosai and his desire to get revenge against him. And so while walking through a battlefield, Jisai came across a child laughing at a fallen warrior, and this child was Sasaki. Their father told them that the people who kill for no reason are weirdos, hence they laughed at their dead father for being, well, a weirdo. He died in a war that was waged for no good reason, hence he was a weirdo. It's the perfect picture of one who doesn't understand what they should be feeling, doesn't know how to act, and so instead defaults to what they've been told. They laugh at their dead father as that is what he was told to do, and now he goes with Jisai as his mother told him to survive. It's the orders of others that drive a young Sasaki, nothing more. This being perfectly emphasised by how, despite being Sasaki's flashback, most of it is told from Jisai's perspective. Now Jisai, in order to enact his revenge, gathered up many children orphaned by war and trained them to be an army that wielded his techniques. His brood, as he called them, was stripped away of their identities, given identical masks to cover their faces and had their names replaced with numbers. They weren't people, they were tools for Jisai's revenge. The two strongest of which being Sasaki, currently called Jiro, and Kuro. Kuro was the stronger of the two, and the one Jisai desired to make his successor. But there was a problem. Jiro, despite being a man, had the appearance of a woman, and as such, the others in the brood grew interested in him. His presence not only threatened to tear apart the brood, but also, more importantly, he was a toxin that poisoned Kuro's heart. Kuro wished to leave with Jiro and open up their heart, wanted to save them from this place, believing the reason that Jiro was the way they were was due to Jisai and his training. And Jiro, as usual, only doing as they are told, said they go with Kuro if that's what he is asking. If he is asked to do something, ordered to do something, then he'll do it. Jisai overheard all this and so devised a plan to get rid of Jiro and destroy Kuro's heart. The method of goo. Put as many venomous animals as you can inside one pit, and whatever came out would have inside it the most potent of poison. This was the same principle Jisai employed. He sent all the brood on a mission to exterminate a village of so-called demons. But he also mentioned something else. Whoever was the strongest would get Jiro. And so the brood fought amongst themselves, slaying one another, till only one would be left. In self-defense, Kuro defeated his fellow students, and as a result, having killed his brothers, he was now a demon in Jiro's eyes. Kuro tried to explain, but Jiro was ordered to just follow the rules, and not to lend an ear to demons. Kuro believed here that he had been wrong about Jiro. He thought he was closed off because of the environment, but now he sees that Jiro never had a heart to begin with. They were just an impressionable doll. Jiro only follows orders, and so they killed the closest thing they had to a friend. The orders to follow the rules, and the order to stay alive. They melded in Jiro's mind and created a killing machine that without emotion or feeling beheaded Kuro. Taking from Jisai the sword that represented a mission well done, Jiro fully became the killing machine Jisai had intended to create. Only following orders, only living for orders, no feelings or reason left at all, or so one may assume. But remember back to the start of the video, before this match started, Sasaki went out of their way to see Musashi, wanted to show him their sword. Almost as if Sasaki wants someone to understand them, wants to understand someone else. This is not something they were ordered to do, they chose to do this. Back to the match at hand, Sasaki lands what at first appeared to be a decisive blow, leaving Hanzo down and seemingly dead, but Hanzo is underhanded to say the least, and he was just playing possum. What really didn't help Sasaki's chances though was that instead of checking Hanzo as dead, he instead stared at Musashi. It couldn't be more obvious he wants the praise of Musashi, he wants acknowledgement, just the fact he's following his orders no longer seems to be enough for him. Because of this, he is tagged by Hanzo's spear, the shinobi explaining he can still move because he has Musclehead Soul carrying him. A concept that confuses Sasaki. After all, this is not logic that drives Hanzo. When he says he won't die till he loses, well, that makes no sense to Sasaki. He says how even Kuro died when he was killed, and that's just it. Kuro. Why did the killing machine bring up that name? When Hanzo points this out, asking if this Kuro person was anything like Musashi, Sasaki is confused, not realising he'd even mentioned Kuro. Because why would a killing machine mention the name of one demon they once killed? It is becoming clear to not just Hanzo, but us the reader too, that Sasaki is human under there, and that he is moved by the dead just like Hanzo, he just doesn't realise it. And Hanzo uses this to his advantage. The mere mention of Musashi's name makes the machine falter. However, Hanzo has more up his sleeve than just names. As it turns out, throughout the match he'd been taking hits he could have dodged, let himself get cut up as part of his trick, all to make Sasaki complacent and underestimate his ability. The fruits of all this work coming as Hanzo dodges what should have been an unavoidable final attack, and strikes at Sasaki with his spear, moved along by his friend's dream, and although it did miss Sasaki's heart, it dealt a deadly blow. Jisai screams at Sasaki to not lose, and then in a shocking turn of events, Sasaki tells him to shut up. He rejects the orders of the man whose lust for revenge formed the basis of his entire life's purpose. He starts to question himself. He realises he hasn't been fighting at full efficiency, just following orders and killing. That is what it should have been. The same way as always, as that's all he's ever done. But now he feels different. His heart is fluttering when he fights Hanzo and he doesn't get why, forced to remember Kuro. He doesn't like it, so he tries to go deeper, become a true monster with no concern for feelings. And Sasaki forces himself to become the ultimate killing machine. He pushes Hanzo back, giving the shinobi no chance to defend, yet even so Hanzo won't go down as he carries his friend's dream on his back. A skilled killing machine fighting with no emotion just because he was told to, and an everyman fighting with pure persistence and grit because he will not let his friend's dream die. They both possess what the other lacks. Sasaki has the skills Hanzo lacks, but Hanzo possesses the reason to fight that Sasaki does not have. And the thing is, Sasaki could have this. He even has Musashi in his corner, yet he is just too late to understand any of this, too late to remove this second mask. He is reminded of Kuro and their promise, how Kuro could have killed him but chose not to, as he could not find a reason to warrant killing his friend. Kuro, you see, didn't know what to do with his life. All he knew was killing, but he didn't want to make this his life. If anything, he found more purpose in dying to let his friend live than anything he did while alive. But he does ask Jiro one thing: to remember him. And that's it, the missing piece. The reason Sasaki has been feeling off this entire fight. He did have someone to fight for, he is fighting to live so he can carry on Kuro's burden, so he can remember that he was here. If he dies, he will break his promise to his friend, so he must fight on. In truth, he has been fighting for the same reason as Hanzo, to carry on a promise of a dead friend. It is this burden that lets them both fight in this moment. And as Sasaki lands another deadly strike, another trick of Hanzo's is revealed. The shield that had been defending his vitals, the broken blade of his friends, Tombakiri. His friend was literally protecting him in this match, and then using this shattered blade, Hanzo delivers another deadly attack. He's not only being defended by his dear friend, but also given the literal ability to fight back. Yet Sasaki cannot accept he too is being moved by the dead and by his emotions. He wants to be an emotionless killing machine. He wants to not have to think. He wants to follow orders, because well, it's easier and it doesn't make him have to confront these feelings in his chest. His expression is no longer calm like a doll. He now shows emotions on it. Anger. His mask has finally been lifted and his true feelings, no matter how much he wants to hide them, cannot be hidden. The more he tries to claim he is just a machine, the more he denies the truth, the more and more apparent his true feelings become. And then we come to the final exchange of the match. Sasaki slices off Hanzo's arm, with it going the Tombakiri, almost as if his friend's protection is now gone, that he too will join him in the next life. But Hanzo blinds him with blood, making Sasaki stumble back. And then Sasaki hears a voice. On your right. It's a voice he recognises. It's Musashi. And so despite having no data to analyse, no visual, he still dodges and he still attacks. Based on nothing but pure trust and faith in Musashi's words. He may deny it, but when push comes to shove, Sasaki can trust in others. But Hanzo already knew that. He, as one who can understand others, knew Sasaki deep down would react to that trick. He'd been the one to say that. He'd mimicked Musashi's voice, and using his severed arm as a decoy, he attacked from Sasaki's blind spot. He knew this final gambit would work, as he knew that despite what he may want, Sasaki is no machine. He is so unbearably human. As Sasaki is knocked off the roof, forced to accept his fate and fall down to his death, he reacts on instinct. He reaches up at Musashi and says, Kuro. Because Hanzo was right, this was no machine. Just a human, so scared of his feelings he pretended not to have any, who wanted to be a machine just so they wouldn't have to confront reality, a human who trusted in others, was moved by others and fought for others. Not because he was ordered to, but because he held the promise of his dead friend deep in his heart. But we can't just focus on our loser here, as our winner Hanzo also has some incredible writing here, and it's all about the missing arm. If you remember, Honda lost because he was unwilling to give up his arm. He didn't want to win there just to lose the rest of the tournament. He took a gamble on keeping his arm and still winning. Yet here Hanzo gave up his arm in order to win, and so now he pushes on carrying Honda's dream in the same position Honda did not choose. And how he fights on despite this lost limb will come to recontextualise Honda's decision. Honda's gamble will be tested here through Hanzo, as Hanzo is doing what his friend could not. And so Hanzo will continue on to fight in the next round, proving that the weak can overcome the strong through pure grit and tenacity, because Hanzo may be weak, but he has a dream that is on his shoulder, and he will not die till he fulfills it. Sasaki, on the other hand, survived his fall, though badly injured, and although nothing can be said for sure, I'm pretty certain he will continue to develop and understand his emotions, likely with the help of Musashi, even if it ends in a life and death duel. Overall, I'd say match 5 of Tenkaichi is one that's about the reasons we fight. Hanzo fighting for his friend and gaining the power to win due to his friend's will, and Sasaki at first fighting because that was what he was ordered to do, for the sake of somebody else's revenge, only to slowly uncover their true feelings and the promise they must live to uphold. And if you want to support this channel even further, then perhaps pledge to my Patreon, or consider becoming a channel member, so you can get your name at the end of the video, like Rinjack9696, Mr. Sputum, Marimo, Jack Hanma, Patrick Glynn, and Sith Lord 906.